I'm Amelia Anderson, and I am the head of scientific computing at Cyclarity Therapeutics. I helped found the company in 2019.
Great. Well, obviously, you guys have been moving super fast, and really, in terms of what you're doing, it's quite interesting that as a platform, of course, with cytokines, you've got a very interesting development pathway, a scalable pathway with the things that you're doing. So it'd be lovely to learn a little bit more about your platform and your role in developing it.
Yeah, so originally, the idea for using cyclodextrins came from a computational model. So Oki came up with the idea of, well, we're not quite encapsulating everything that we want to with just one. And so what happens if you put two together? And we didn't know, and we knew that synthesizing it was going to be expensive. So I tried it in the computer first, just doing simple calculations, and it looked really good. So we decided to synthesize it, and since then I've grown a lot with the company and learned a lot about molecular dynamics and how to simulate these things,
right,
using various methods. And so the idea of the platform is to expand this pathway to be able to encapsulate various other targets. So not just the oxidized cholesterol that we're going after now.
Right. So obviously, your first target is now producing its pathway. It's on its way to clinical, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
So sitting behind that, you've got quite an interesting pipeline. So without disclosing what's confidential in there, it'd be interesting to know how you've applied the platform and what it's being applied to.
Yeah, well, the idea right now is to build it and validate it and make sure that it works. So the first step was to have a target, which was 7-KC, and an off target, which is cholesterol, because cholesterol is important. So we wanted to make sure that we had specificity for our target. And once we were able to show that we had that not only in the lab, but also in the computer, we can expand those same methods to get specificity for other targets. So you can do a lot of different chemical modifications to cyclodextrins, and you can go after a lot of various molecular garbage, we like to call it, which builds up as you age. And so ideally, in the future, we want to use machine learning and AI algorithms to help us come up with these ideas. For now, it's more what we can think of is what we're able to test. But in the future, we'll be able to incorporate these other algorithms to expand what we can go after.
So is there a certain amount of training that you're able to do already with the data? Because presumably when you're going from in vitro to animal and obviously then on to human, there's an element of a feedback loop, which obviously enhances the platform. So have you started some of that work already?
Some of it has started, yes. We haven't actually incorporated any machine learning yet, but the iterative process of testing it in the computer, looking at it in the lab, and relating all of these concepts to each other, they're always improving each other. So I can always improve my algorithm, and the bench can always improve or our targets can always be improved on the bench.
Yeah, interesting. And of course, when you go into your phase 1, which is normally for safety, I understand that you will be collecting some clinical data as well, which is quite interesting, isn't it? So you're going to be able to have some early data to start enhancing your platform, I assume.
Yeah. Assuming that for example, we can kind of quantify our specificity in a actual real life environment. So right now, everything in the computer is more or less relative. Like I can see that this compared to this is better, this is worse, based on the algorithms that I use. And then we can translate that to the lab, and I can make further connections to determine how those relative quantities from the computer actually translate into the lab, and then we can improve each other in that way.
Right, that's fascinating. And of course, your development pathway includes virtual reality, which is really interesting. So can you just explain how you use that?
It's just a lot of fun right now. In the future, we would like to make it more useful. But for now, it's mostly just a toy to show off what we're able to do. Because a lot of the things that I do are really beautiful. They're fun to watch and fun to look at. And I think it's a really interesting way to immerse yourself in the world of chemistry in a way that you could never do before. So it's really fun to show that off to people and relate to people a little bit more on what I actually work on.
Yeah, that'd be fascinating. Is there a chance I can have a go?
Absolutely.
Great, let's give it a go.
All right.
You can see here that all of our targets there are two targets there. One target and one off target. 7-KC is our target. That's the oxidized cholesterol that builds up as you age. You can grab that if you want to look at it.
Yeah, so
And you kind of have to grab a little further than you might think you do.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
oh, I got
There
you.
you go.
Yeah, great.
Cool. And then cholesterol, you can see that it's very similar, but it's not exactly the same. The only difference is that oxygen.
So, grab that.
Yeah, you can compare them to each other, and you can see that they're one red molecule or atom is the difference.
Yep.
So now you can put one of them down, which will reset. Oh, well, that's fine. They'll reset. Now grab any cyclodextrin you want.
Okay, so I'll go for HPB.
All right. You might have to really reach. There you go. And now choose one of the targets. There you go.
Drops it.
And now grab, say, cholesterol.
Okay.
There we go. Now you can put them together.
Right.
Cool. Now grab 7kc and grab the HP dimer, which is going to be on your left, I think.
On
The dimer.
Oh, the dimer, yeah.
Yep. Cool. Now put those two together. And you can see that. There we go. Now that is a simulation which kicked off a lot of this this development of cyclodextrin dimers, and you can look at it really close. So this is an actual molecular dynamics simulation, which is predicted interactions between the cyclodextrin and the 7kc. So you can see that the cavity is nice and open. 7kc fits in there nicely, and it's completely shielded by the cyclodextrin. So the idea is that the shielding allows your body to get rid of that 7kc, because 7kc is what's clogging up your macrophages. If you want to pick it up and look at it closely, this is one of the benefits of VR that I see that's actually practical.
Yeah.
You can really watch it and look very closely at these interactions. At some point, we do want to make it able to do on the fly kind of calculations, but right now it's just not technologically feasible yet.
Yeah, that's amazing. Shall we wrap up there?
Sounds good.
That's wonderful. Thanks very much for that. It's brilliant.
Yeah.